example. So this lesson, we're really going to set the foundation of what we're up to in this 21-day family reset program. And it all starts with us as the parents, or whatever your role is, grandparents could be, setting an example of us and how we interact with our health, our lifestyle, and in particular, we're talking about eating and healthy lifestyle related to eating. So we've often heard, the concept of do what I say, not what I do, and that type of stuff. It's sort of told as kind of a humorous thing. But the truth is that our kids are always watching us, right? From day one, they're watching everything we do, and they're learning everything about life and how to be a person and a human, and all of the things that involves, including when we're talking about eating and healthy lifestyle, by watching us. So in a sense, it almost doesn't matter what we say. It really matters what we do. So we can't really make a change for our family's health, and in particular our kids' health, until we really take a look at ourselves as the example and what the example we're really setting is for our kids. So this can be things like how we interact with food in terms of eating, how in touch we are with our own body when we're eating, and also, believe it or not, what we do as far as eating goes when our kids aren't around. Because believe me, they pick up on all of that stuff. So for our first exercise related to really kind of kicking the process off and getting started, what I'm asking you to do as the parent is to really start looking at where any inconsistencies lie in terms of your health and especially your relationship to food. Where is it that you eat in a certain way, maybe when your kids are around, and in a certain way when they're not around? Or where is it that you have them eat something but you eat somehow differently? Or we want to start also getting a little deeper in there and see what we're doing as far as our own relationship to our own eating. Do we eat in a way that is conscious and where we're present to the reality of what we're eating? Are we really listening to our own bodies, knowing of what to eat and when to eat and how much of things to eat for our own vitality and best health? Or do we eat for relief, or do we eat for convenience, or do we eat for cost? And so that's our first step. So really what this requires is, journaling, and it doesn't have to be a journal, it can be a piece of paper, it can be on your computer, on your phone, whatever works for you. But take 10, 15, 20 minutes, really set that aside and start examining your own relationship to eating, to food, and consistency in terms of the message we give our kids, the message we want to be giving our kids as far as health and eating goes, and what message we're really showing them. And once we start to become aware and unearth some of this stuff, that's when we can really start to make the changes that will then impact our kids and our family in terms of the lifestyle. So quick lesson this time, it's really about being the example, and the action steps are examining where the example we're setting isn't the one we want to be setting. Because contextually going forward in our 21-day family reset, what we're really looking to do is make a significant change towards better health ongoingly to create a legacy of health in our family for this generation and the next generations. So that all begins with us as the parents, and that all begins with the example that we're setting. So keep that in mind going forward. Do that journaling exercise, see what it uncovers in you and yourself, and then where you can start becoming more congruent in your example that you're giving your kids. If we do this, then all of the other steps that we're going to be doing in the 21 days together are going to be that much more potent and much more powerful and cause much more long-lasting change. So today's lesson about presence is a big step along that pathway to really getting back to being able to listen deeply inside. And so when I'm talking about presence, I'm talking about just really being in the moment. So this comes into play in a big way when we're actually at mealtime, when we're actually at the family table, the family meal, when we're eating together. How present are we? So this is something you could look at, like the last meal you ate together as a family. How present were you then? You personally, how much of the environment was about being together, interacting with each other, learning and knowing about each other's day or the time period since you last saw each other at this event. Things like, are we looking at screens? Are we watching TV? Do people have their phones or tablets or computers out? Because all of those things take away our presence. And what we know is the more present we are to ourselves, to the food we're eating, the more likely we are to make healthy choices. In fact, believe it or not, there was a study done in Canada where they surveyed hundreds of school-age kids about their parents using devices during mealtime in particular. And over 60% of the kids responded that they felt like the device, the phone or the tablet, was more important to the parent than the kid was themselves. I mean, that's like shocking stuff, right? And hopefully that's not the case for you and your kids and your family. That seems a little extreme, but keep in mind that these are subtle things that happen. When we are not being present to our own eating, when we are staring at a screen, when we're watching something else, and not present to the process and in the ritual that we're involved in of eating and feeding our body, giving our body nutrients and the things it's going to use for energy, we're giving that example to our kids that being present isn't really that important. But we really have no chance at all in hearing that inner voice that knows how to eat and when to stop eating if we're not first being present to ourselves. The other thing that we found in terms of researching about healthy lifestyle, and not just whether you eat vegetables or whether your kids eat vegetables or eat junk food, but also other healthy decisions or unhealthy decisions they're going to be faced with as they go through life, becoming teenagers and becoming young adults and adults. Things like who they associate with, how much importance they put into their education, whether they make risky decisions about alcohol and drugs, are all affected by the number of family meals we have together, but really more than how many times you sit down in the same space together, how present everybody is in those experiences. Are you sitting around a table and everyone's staring at a movie or a TV show on a screen? Or are you sharing that space together and having it be really a sacred space where you spend time together and you know about each other's days, and the children are shown that the parents have interest in them and not in their little screens. This is a vital step in step number 2, and really in this whole first week we're working with the prevailing pictures and habits and behaviors in terms of the mindset part of it, because we need to establish that first and foremost so that we can then get into the detail and granular stuff of eat this and don't eat that, and here's how you deal with challenging situations at the table and those type of things. So for our next exercise, we're going to practice being present. So what I want you to do is first look at things that distract you from being present in your own interaction with food. Do you eat on the go? Do you eat maybe at your desk at the office? Do you go for convenience and speed? Do you eat really quickly? Are you looking at screens? Where is your attention when you eat? And really focus on today, the next time you eat, and on forward from there, paying attention to the bites you're putting in your mouth, how the texture is, how it tastes, how it feels, how you feel as you're eating. Maybe slow down a little bit, chew your food a little more, and just play with and experiment with being more and more present with your food. The next time you're eating with your kids, do the same. Be present to your food, be present to your body. Also be present to them and their reality. Be interested in what they're sharing. Even if they're only 1 or 2 years old, they have expressions to share. And have the eating experience and that family eating experience be one that you're exemplifying being present, being not distracted by other things, and really give that example of listening to your body fully. And then what I want you to do for the next 2 days is jot a couple notes after each meal. Just start looking at what did that feel like? If you felt like you were being more present than you had been, or you're being present, how did that experience go for you? What did you notice that maybe distracted you from being present? What are some of the habits that you have that now we're going to have to reform and reestablish or change about looking at our phones or looking at TV or not being present or eating on the go in the car, so on and so forth. And so you can really start unwinding it and really, just shining the light on what's really been going on so that you can start making those changes and being more present. So do that. Jot some notes down after each meal for the next 2 days, and we'll talk about that on the next lesson a little bit. All right. You guys take care, and we'll see you in a couple of days with our next lesson.